Good evening, welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Norris Lee TV. Coming up in tonight's episode, very exciting, action-packed, we will hear a piece from Chazan Avromi. We will be meeting our new youth directors. We have an interview with Rabbi Zarum, Rabbi Dr Rowe, and we will also be hearing from many of our attendees at the Norris Lee Fun Bus. Did you like that?
Yes, that was amazing. Fun day bus.
Fun day bus.
Yes, it's an amazing thing that the 11 Fishes do. You know, taking out that fun day bus and bring smiles to people's faces. And I think giving us that opportunity to do that to our members is really very exciting. I think people came out. We went out to see them, and hopefully we'll see more of them on Yontiv. We're looking forward to that.
Yep.
But we know that a lot are home, and who knows what's going to be in the next few days. Government guidelines are changing every day. And for those who are going to be home, we have amazing organizations in town that have provided us with stay-at-home guidance as to how to...
Yeah, well, let's have a look at what we've got here at the studio.
That's right.
So there's many publications out there from Aish. United Synagogue have put something out as well. Our shul are putting stuff out. Tribe are putting stuff out. Explanatory service highlights. Rosh Hashanah highlights from Aish. LSJS's.
Beyonding, yeah.
Little Simonim card. White clean, because they know you're going to be using it at dinner time.
That's right.
So United Synagogue have put their stuff out from a collection of rabbis and rebbetzins. You won't be short of stuff to do over Yom Tov, over all the Chagim if you are at home, and you certainly won't be bored if you're in shul because the services are being truncated. So by the time you get in, daven what you're familiar with davening, it'll be time to leave again. But should we hear what Rabbi Dr Rowe has to say, because he's a very popular speaker. He runs the explanatory service in our shul each year. Obviously this year's different, but Rabbi Friedman meets with him. Let's hear what Rabbi Dr Rowe has to say.
Rabbi Dr Rowe, welcome to Norris Lee TV. Such an honor to have you here with us.
It's an honor and pleasure to be part of it. It's very exciting.
Well, thank you. And thank you for, you're no stranger to Hampstead Garden Synagogue, to our community. You're with us how many years have you been joining us for High Holidays?
I lost count. We figured it was probably about a bar mitzvah last year. So
wow.
This will be my 14th year, I think.
Oh, kind of hard. So you've been coming since, by the looks of you, about 10 years old.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And obviously this year is very different, but being the incredible rabbi that you are, you've gone to great lengths to make sure that this year is no different, and you've prepared us. By now, all of our members have received the co-branded High Holidays box that you've so amazingly put together, and we at HGSS have partnered with you on this initiative for our community. Tell us a little about how you came up with the idea, what's in the box, and what our members should do with the contents.
Okay, so the idea started already. It became obvious, I think, to everyone a few months ago that this could be a very different Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and lots of people either wouldn't be able to get to shul for one of many possible reasons, health in the family risks, or just the fact that shuls couldn't necessarily accommodate in the same way. So we started getting lots of calls and messages. What should we do? How do we do things? And I'm always a believer that when the situation changes, it's almost cliche, but I think it's really true. It doesn't mean it's going to be less good. You have to think about it differently. More of, if you like, the delegation of responsibility for inspiration on the day can't just be delegated to the community. I turn up, Rabbi Chazan, numbers, singing together, you do the job for me, inspire me, and I go, it's going to have to move a little bit more into the homes, even for those who can turn up but won't have the same experience, and all the more so for those who won't be able to be there. So we started thinking, what would it take to make it special in homes? So we thought, first of all, the prayers. Lots of people are happy to just pick up a machzah and read it, but there's lots for whom it's not so easy to connect to the machzah, even if they're very experienced at davening. Some of the prayers, so we haven't put all the prayers in, but some of the key highlights, trying to put a bit of explanation around them. They're thousands of years old. They're amazingly deep. but there's a lot more than just translation to make it special. So that's one part. So you got in the box, there should be a Rosh Hashanah key prayers sort of highlights book with explanations and comments all round and so on, make it more relatable. Same with Yom Kippur, with Yom Kippur's highlights as well. And then also for Rosh Hashanah night, a lot of people do apple and honey, and different communities, different people have different family customs. So we decided to put just quick, simple explanations just as they're going through the meal. You know, the idea is to turn that meal from just a fun meal into thinking about the blessings we want for ourselves and others in the year ahead. So
I see with the Simonim booklet, there might be an undercurrent of creating a new Minhag Anglia.
I actually we tried to find out what's the standard minhag, and it turns out there are so many, because people really have parental minhagim. You know, you've got people from so many different communities, so we tried to incorporate the main ones. Obviously there's lots of people who just do apple and honey, and everyone should follow their custom, but whatever you want to include.
Well, I mean, of course, I think it's important to point out, you might mention this in the Simonim, it's not a new idea. It appears in the Gemara.
Right, yes. In fact, usually it's a strange Jewish behavior, because usually to say, I want this as a sign, is actually considered wrong in Judaism. But on Rosh Hashanah, we actually all do it. And I put a little comment on the back as to why, and I think some of it is the sense of, on Rosh Hashanah, we become much more sensitive to every detail. It's almost like we're laying down the genetic code for the year ahead. You know, we call it Hayom HaRasolam, it's the day of conception of the world. Now, conception doesn't determine the life of a child, but it determines a lot. And so we try for 2 days to focus in a way that we don't normally do. Every item of food, what's special about it? What blessing could there be? And try and visualize that for the year. I think that's some of the depth behind that. So we've decided to put that in. And then obviously a magazine full of interesting articles, because Rosh Hashanah is not just synagogue service. You sit around all day. There can be lots of interesting things for people to read as well.
And the food package, that's what I put on my Seder plate?
We decided a variation on the apple and honey theme, an apple bar and a little bit of honey, just to be a little bit different.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you. So yeah, so at the very least, dear members, you know, enjoy what's in here for the palate. But really, look.
The taste is a big part of Jesus, and I think it's amazing. God can't physically reach out to us, right? But all the blessings of the world are, as it were, God's physically reaching out to us. So as a Jew, when you taste good food, and we say we're grateful for whoever's prepared it, but we're also grateful to God behind it all, and that's a way of us tasting God's goodness and blessing too. So of course, you got to put that in there, something for people to eat.
Amazing. Now I see, apart from those incredible explanatory prayer guides that you must have worked day and night, months for. Once again, like you mentioned, you've got your fantastic Perspectives magazine, which is world class. I don't know if there's another organization like yours in the world preparing, a magazine that it could be sold on the finest magazine stands. Tell us just generally about how the magazine came to be, and what goes into producing a world-class publication like this.
That's that should be something I'm well prepared for. It should be like one of those hand him a serve, So I think the magazine actually started. We used to have an Aish magazine. At a certain point, I think we realized that, and I believe this generally, two things. Number one, Judaism is not just Divrei Torah. Right? Judaism's topic is not a religion. Judaism is about life. We call it Torah Chaim, right? That it's a guide to life, and it should be able to shed and have meaningful things to say about every area of life. That's number one. And magazines tend to express, or at least connect a group's worldview. They cover more than one topic. And I'm also a believer that if we think Judaism, which we do, is the most beautiful gift in the world, then in today's world, that the wrapping, the vessel that delivers it should also be really beautiful and world class. And I say to all our rabbis, when you're speaking, you have to realize, look on YouTube, look what's out there, look at the standard that's demanded. Because if your content is beautiful, but the delivery is second class, people rate it as this must be a second class product. And so if we're going to put out a magazine and we're going to shed light on lots of different topics and have a voice in lots of different topics and let lots of people speak, let it be, if it's a beautiful voice for the Jewish community and Judaism, let it look like that. Obviously you have to make sure it can cover its costs and so on, because we're not we're very careful with charitable funds, and thank God. I think also when it's a beautiful product, people are happy to advertise and pay something towards purchasing it as well. But I believe in general, we often, like take your shul for example. I popped down into the main service, and you got Chazan Avromi and you, and the beauty of it. It's a beautiful vessel for delivering the depth of what Rosh Hashanah is, which is man's attempt to ask the deepest existential questions there are, and to recalibrate our life. And it needs that beautiful vessel. A lot of the prayers that were added in over the ages are a beautiful vessel and beautiful vehicle. So I think that's my philosophy is that the wrapping should express the depth. It should never replace the product. It shouldn't be a distraction for the product, but it must always express that product as beautifully as possible.
And you do wrap your product incredibly, but of course the product that we see you a handful of times during the year, but of course Aish is non-stop throughout the year. Rabbi Rowe, would you care to share with us some of the current and upcoming product Aish offerings?
So I mean, Yom Noraim, we're in I think 11 communities for explanatory services. I know by the time this will be aired, the legislation may have changed on exactly what can happen with guards and satellites and so on. But I'm looking forward to being in Hampstead Garden suburb in one form or another. And we've got educators around the country doing that. As well as that, we generally, our main focus during the year is students just before they leave home, so sixth formers, then till they build their own homes. That's universities, young professionals. And a lot of that switched to online. And it's a very digitally savvy audience, so it was quite easy to move online. And thank God, quite a digitally savvy staff as well, quite a young group of educators and stuff. So that was quite an easy move for us. We put a lot of social activities online as well. And I think in general, the community's done quite well. This initiative is fantastic at the HGSS TV as well. So Colin, come on to you guys. So a lot of what we do is digital at the moment, and we're putting out more and more and more digital things all the time. Everything from just fun stuff to courses that people can learn online, as well as live interactive, small groups, large groups, public, private, etc. And we also were starting to do smaller groups of gatherings of 6, including the educator. We've got always following the guidelines and so on. So it's very busy. I give an example. For example, we obviously normally during the year run huge Friday nights for young people. That obviously is not an available option at the moment. So we're going to have educators planning in the winter to run lots of small ones. You might have 4 Friday night meals in a Friday night, and they've got to be careful not to put on too much weight, But that's the stuff. So in a normal year, we'll be going into sixth forms, going around the campuses of the country. We have branches on most of those campuses and in the young professional hubs, and we're traveling a lot and doing a lot of activity. Right now, it's a lot more online, but I think it's very exciting actually. And online's proven amazing because it expands the reach enormously. I say to the team, and I believe it's 100%. With the minute it hit, don't look at trying to just replicate what we were trying to do before, because your best success will be 70%. Start thinking, what can we do now that we can't normally do?
Right. Well, Yashikar, for everything you do, Rabbi Rowe, and Aish UK is really one of the finest Jewish organizations, not just in this country, but I've lived in a few countries and really worldwide. You do an amazing job. May 5781 take Aish to even greater heights, and may we finally see some light in this world, the fire, the Aish, burning bright from the divine into all of our lives for only good positivity.
Thank you. Can I say, thank you for the compliment about Aish. I actually think this is a community that's very special, not just yours, Hampstead Garden Suburb, but the whole of British Jewry. There's lots of wonderful organizations, but it's a huge privilege to be part of some amazing things going on and a part of an amazing team. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rabbi Friedman and Rabbi Rowe. You really put a lot of work into preparing these guides, and we really appreciate that. And as you mentioned, Rabbi Rowe is no stranger to HGSS. He comes not only on the high holidays, over at all the holidays, and giving shiurim, I know, to many, and so now over Zoom. So we are very fortunate to have Aish as part of partnering with us many times. So thank you, Rabbi Rowe.
Yeah, we're lucky to have these organisations, here in London, locally, and good organisations. I like Aish, friend of a lot of the rabbis there. And I'm also a big fan of LSJS.
Yeah, didn't you graduate from there?
I did, yeah. Well, they must be good. They educated me.
There you go. You got your master's in education,
And
right?
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
that's
mazel
what-
tov, right? Okay,
Yeah,
excellent.
however many years ago that was.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, well, I can't remember now.
Right,
Three,
aren't
4
you the
years.
poster boy also? On
Yeah, exactly. If you've seen that poster,
That's
I mean,
right.
if that won't encourage people to join, what will?
That's right.
Yeah. I believe business is booming since then.
And so we hear from Rabbi Dr. Rabbi Zarum about his Beyonding pamphlet that he put out to the community. So over to you, Rabbi Friedman.
Welcome, Rabbi Dr. Zarum, to Norrisley TV. It's such an honor to have you here with us today.
Great to be here. Great to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And we're here today to talk about your wonderful publication, Beyonding, that has gone throughout the community and is essential at this point when so many of our community aren't able to be in shul for the high holidays this year. And thank you for the incredible work that you do generally to educate our community, and specifically now to be able to step up to the plate and recognize the importance of reaching out and giving the community from an educational perspective and really here a prayer perspective what is needed. So will you tell us a little about how you came up with the idea and what is Beyonding, which is the name of your publication?
That's very kind of you, Rabbi. Thank you so much. Well, back in June, I was figuring, you know, are we going to end up in shul? Is this really going to happen? Or are we going to be still in lockdown? And I thought maybe to do a booklet of ideas to pray at home. And everyone said, no, it'll all be over by the summer. You won't need it. So I put it on the side. And then in July, people go, no, right, we need it. So I started thinking about what would it mean to pray at home. And it's not just about the moment. Like anything worthwhile, you need to prepare, right? When you have a simcha, you don't just turn up and say, oh, who's going to do the letter? You organize everything, you organize things. And
Right.
tefillah, prayer is the same. You know this, Rav, because you organize shul, but people don't always realize in shul, the Gabayim organize the davening, who's going to do it, how long it's going to take. It's all organized in advance. If we pray at home, we need to organize in advance. But instead of just going through a whole list of page numbers, I thought I'll get to the heart of what prayer is. And for me, it's about something, obviously we're physical beings, I believe in the theory of evolution, I'm a scientist by training, I know the physicality of what we are. But as you know, we're also something more. Our soul is beyond. It's something developed beyond that. And when I was reading this wonderful, crazy book about the origins of faith in very early Paleolithic period, actually, the origins of ritual, you'd love it, it's a great book. It talks about this idea of beyonding, actually going beyond ourselves and understanding there's something beyond that immediate world that we're living in. And I read that and I thought, that is the heart of what prayer. And I thought, if I give an unusual title, people will go, Beyonding, what's that? And then maybe they'll open it. So that was my idea to get people to open the book. But it does reflect the extra le'ela we say in the Kaddish, le'ela li'ela, go beyond, go beyond. So that's what
Yes.
the book is about.
Yeah, so would you just explain to our viewers about that word in the Kaddish?
Right, so, you know, we say, when we daven, we say Kaddish, with praise of God, we say, Le'ela mikol birchata v'sharata. God's name is beyond any kind of praise, right? We can't describe God. God's beyond, right? We say the pasuk, Lacha dumia tehillah. To you, God, silence is praise. It's like when you see a great movie, right, and it ends, you know, if someone turns around and goes, oh, that was good, you go, shut up. It was beyond talking. Just be quiet and sit in silence in awe of what's just happened. Sometimes silence is more eloquent than any words could ever be. Okay, right. So what are we talking about? I've just got on the subject here.
So how the extra la'ela comes into our
la'ela, right, exactly. So God's beyond la'ela, beyond saying anything. Now during the davening for I say make shuvah, we say la'ela twice. We say la'ela, beyond. Right? Now, it's not that God's more distant from us, because actually we believe that God's closer to us in this period. What it means is that we need to raise up and connect to God in a deeper way, concentrate on our spiritual path. And this booklet is all about that. Again, to iterate, you know, I'm a very logical, rational person, but I know the power of different experiences. And my mind is more than just a rational thought. It has many emotions and feelings and psychological issues and spiritual ones. And prayer is all about getting in touch with that. Now, I know we're Anglo-Jews here. I mean, thank God you're American, so you're not afraid to be spiritual. But us Anglo-Jews are very, you know, normal and formal. But in prayer, we've got to let go. We've got to wake up. And this booklet is trying to help you do that.
Well, I have to tell you how impressed I was to read some of the pieces that you've written here in the Beyonding. Like you mentioned, you know, I think that many in the community, probably people who don't know you on a personal basis, but see you professionally as Rabbi Dr. Zarum, the head of LSJS, who is this, you know, academically minded individual and scientifically minded individual, and a lot of us may look at ourselves in such a light and think, well, you know, I'm too smart for prayer. You know, I see things rationally, and to be that model for our community, Rabbi Zarum, and be able to say, you know what, these two ideas are not contradictory. You know, the science of it and to be able to view things rationally and academically is not a contradiction to having the spiritual side, the connection with the Almighty, and that's so amazing. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'll tell you. See, I'm getting this. Do you know what the motto? You know, LSJS used to be called Jews College, 165 years old. You know, but
Yes.
Did you know it's got a motto?
Remind
It's got a motto. The motto of no one knows it. I've read the old books. I had to. I'm the dean. The motto is from the first page of Davening. Reshit Chochma Yirat Hashem.
Wow.
The beginning of wisdom, which is intellectual study, is the reverence for God. And I love they chose that. What they're trying to say is obviously Reshit Chochma, wisdom, rationality is fundamental. But the Reshit of Chochma, the beginning of Chochma, is reverence for God. I love that unification. It's right there. I love that.
That's incredible. It's incredible. Thank you.
So I've always felt you need those two parts inside you. And in the booklet, I've given lots of suggestions of how to do that. One of them, which is quite unusual, but it's halakhically okay and stuff, is to write out God's name. It feels transgressive to do that. I mean, we're allowed to write God's name. It's just that if you write God's name, it's forever. So you have to keep it. But my idea is that, and the Hasidim used to do this, right? The Kabbalists would actually do this later on and focus on God's name. I'm saying take a card, take a pen before Rosh Hashanah, and write out God's name, the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey, and put it inside your machzor. When you daven, put it in front of you. So just to be aware of. And even saying it feels weird, right? When you think about doing it, but actually it's about making connection. Obviously, God isn't those letters. Obviously, it's a metaphor and a symbol, but it's a very powerful one. And you'll know that when you write it out.
I certainly know in many Sephardic Sidurim Machzorim, they have charts that they gaze at, and that's.
I've got mine in front. I've got a Yemenite background. This is my Shifti Hashem Negdi, all the different letters and that kind of stuff. Absolutely,
amazing.
Why not? It's a part of it. Why, if we believe our minds, you know, we talk about IQ and EQ as separate things, but in the mind, it's just one thing. You know, so if you believe in the power of the mind, why would you limit it to rationality? That's so limited. That obviously, there's so many different things we can experience.
Incredible. Tell us about breathing, because that plays an important and I would say innovative part of your instruction to the community.
It's a very important part of it in all davening, breathing in, and all meditation systems in Judaism and in other faiths and other cultures. It's all about the breathing. And particularly that's relevant for Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah was the day Adam was created, which is the day that God blew life into us. God blew life into us. So, by the way, God makes all the other species from the outside, right? I think the Bible Rebbe says this, but God breathed into us. So other species are created externally by God. We are created internally, the breath of God inside. By the way, I don't think that's literal. Because do you think God's got a mouth when God breathed into you? And if it's not literal, does it take 1 moment, 1 second, or how about 2 million years? For me, it's the evolution of consciousness guided by God, from God, but still through an evolutionary process. And that was what happened on Rosh Hashanah. God breathed that life into us. So to show that we're alive, we breathe back. We symbolize that through the only mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah, which is the shofar. We blow to Hashem.
Incredible.
Right? And by the way, the proof of this, you're like this is, Shaila, I'll ask you, are you allowed to, you're not allowed to shake a stolen lulav. Can you blow a stolen shofar halachically, and does it count? And the answer is yes. The Rambam says it does. Why? Because the mitzvah is not the object, like the lulav is. The mitzvah is the breath. Now, the Magen Avraham says you shouldn't anyway because it looks bad, you know. But the principle is that the mitzvah is not on the object of the shofar; it's the air that's being blown. We are blowing back to God to say, "You gave us life through breath. We are blowing back to you." So that's the shofar.
Amazing.
We can all individually do that every time we breathe in. When I get bored in Shul and Rosh Hashanah, and I'll be honest, I do occasionally. I'll show you. I sit there, I shut my eyes, and I just breathe in. And I breathe out slowly and just feel it, and I'm back on track. And I've reenacted Gan Eden, which is just like Pesach's reenacting going out of Egypt, and Matan Torah. I'm reenacting Gan Eden in that moment. So every breath we give consciously in Rosh Hashanah is a reenacting of Gan Eden, focuses us, and is to Hashem. So that's why it's so important to me, the breathing. And with COVID this year, I mean, you and I talked about our breathing issues. You know, it's so sad that, you know, what gets you is that breathing. It's so important to us, you know. You breathe.
I don't think any of us take it for granted anymore.
Right, exactly. You know, in our lives, you breathe about 1 billion times. It's the thing we don't notice, and yet when we don't have it, it's the most important thing. So we're breathing for them as well, and thanking God for every breath that we can take.
Right. So you speak about how the home and the prayer space should look. I mean, our houses over the last few months have become multi-purpose spaces between homing, schooling, working, and now we're adding another dimension into the mix. Tell us a little about that.
Well, again, you have to prepare. You have to make it special, right? How many hours have you spent looking through IKEA catalogs and choosing sofas and enjoying to make your home beautiful? So how do you make it beautiful for God? Right? The Sephardim know about this, okay? Come look at the Sephardi Shul in Kinlos, right? How they build it. You make something beautiful to Hashem. So what are you going to do if the chair that you're going to have, or the place you're going to have, you can put your talit and your machzor in a certain place. You can have God's name there. You might find a nice wrap you put on the back of the chair. You might have photos of your family around. I know it sounds a bit weird doing this, but this is how you make meaning. Create a space that is meaningful for you. You might do it near the candles for Rosh Hashanah, the lighting, or the Yizkor light if you do it for Yom Kippur. And go to that space to daven. And pause before you begin, and make it a little shul, right? A mikdash ma'at, even in your home. And key is take breaks in davening. Don't try and do more than half an hour at a time. Take a break, go for a walk, get a coffee, come back, and start again. Right? Daven in bits, not in one long bit. Okay.
Like your own personal Kiddush club.
Yeah, exactly. You can take this break. You know, in Israel, they come to shul with their coffee. They got to fit in here and coffee on the hand. Here we're a bit more formal. We don't allow coffee in shul, but a lot of people do it. The point is like, make an effort to do it. And if you want to get in the mood, the best thing, I'll tell you this example. It's my teacher, Yoshua Engelman. You know, we were all talking one year before Hashanah about preparing and davening. And he said, well, it's all very well getting into the mood on the big days, but how, you know, on a weekday mincha, an afternoon, you know, I'm in my office in the old days when we used to go to offices, you know, in the days of the gatherings. In the past, he said, you know, I would close the blinds in my office and daven mincha in 4 minutes. How can I make that better? And you know what Yoshua Engelman, my teacher, said? He goes, I'll tell you what to do. And my answer is going to be exactly in 4 minutes. Here's what I want you to do. For the first minute, open your siddur and just say Ashrei, and then just stand there and don't daven. You'll want to, don't for the entire minute. Just breathe and think what you're about to do, and then do it in 3.
Wow.
And then do it in 3 minutes. Because if you pause about to do something, that energy, it's like when you start a race and you feel it getting ready, then you're revved up. And then even if you go faster, you're into an experience. It's so interesting. We don't take davening seriously. We just walk in and think we can do it. We wouldn't do that for a race. We wouldn't do that for an exam. We wouldn't do that for an interview. We wouldn't do that when going on a date. Why less with God? Put some effort, a little bit, to prepare. And that's what the Gemara meant when it said the Hasidim were prepared in advance. We all think they'd go and jump up and down in the forest and everything. Setting up, you know, is preparing.
Wow,
you know,
wow.
So just prepare. If we take this seriously, a few minutes to prepare and get in the mood to create the space, something beautiful objects. Why not? Right, things that you value around you, and then go.
Wow, that's so inspiring. Rabbi Zarum, I think you've transformed personally my prayers for the upcoming Yom Naram, and no doubt so many of our viewers. How about we, before we go, will you tell us some of the latest offerings at LSJS and how things are looking right now during COVID?
Right. Well, it's Monday night now, and yesterday, we just had hundreds of people on our big NL Learning Day, which is finished now, but you can get hold of the recordings on the website. But our program's out for next term, and it's all going to be online, obviously, this term. We're going to play safe. And we're expecting we get good numbers because there's no parking issues on Zoom, Rabbi, so we do well. But there's lots of different programs. Our two ones I'll just mention. One, we've got the entire Tanakh course. We've done it before, but we haven't done it for a few years now. You can learn the entire Bible in 1 year, one book a week. Wow. 2 hours Bereshit, 2 hours Yoshua. You can sign up for that. It's a great course with brilliant teachers. And something I'm very excited about with a member from your community in November, I think it is, Abraham on Trial. We're going to get 4 really high-level QCs and so on, including your very own David Wolfson. We're going to put Abraham versus Sarah on trial in English law with a judge. It's going to be an amazing event. These, all the barristers involved know their Torah and their law, and we're going to debate what was Abraham doing when he nearly sacrificed his son, and what that's about. So it's a really
I don't know who's innocent or guilty, but I can tell you one thing: David will win.
You haven't seen who he's facing.
Well, thank you so much, Rabbi Dr. Zarum. Wishing you and your family and the LSJS community a healthy, happy, and sweet one. And please God, we'll be able to see each other in person very soon.
In person, right. Shana Tova, we should all be safe and healthy for the whole world. Amen. Thank you very much. And don't forget to go beyond. Thank you. Shana Tova.
Thank you, Rabbi Dr. Zarum. This is really amazing, and it's still available for people who have not received it in their JC copy or want to order it online. He'll send it to you, so you can just go on the website below here, and you can click here to order your own copy. He did an amazing job. Really gave an opportunity to people to understand what prayer is all about. People think oh, I have to pray, go to shul, and
follow the service.
Follow the service.
Well, are those who are just not familiar with that? I mean, the more you come, the more familiar you will be. There's no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, it's still alien for many. But this is a great companion, and it'll make the prayers, however much or little you do, but what you do will be more meaningful, and that's really what counts.
He sets it. He guides with the setting. Where you should set your room up. Make sure there's no noise. Get into that meditation mode. So there's really great tips in there. So thank you very much for all of the guidance that we have to be able to make this Rosh Hashanah extra special, especially in these difficult times.
Speaking about difficult times, but the Love and Fish Foundation have brought much joy to members of our community. Here, let's see what some of the attendees at the Fun Day Bus have had to say for themselves. Mr. President himself has come out. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have you enjoyed the pre-Yom Tov pre-Yom Tov preparations?
Oh, they've been wonderful. And they've been, the thing is, they've been really calm, and they haven't been subject to any change this year. But, we're coming through it. And,
fantastic.
Shana Tova to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for all you've done and your team. Someone's come for a Bar Mitzvah.
And it's lovely to see everyone out as well.
It is. Good afternoon, Mrs. Dover. How lovely to see you. Very good of you to come out. What would you be missing this year over Rosh Hashanah? Because I know you're not going to be coming to shul. What's normally the favourite part of Yom Tov for you for Rosh Hashanah?
If I can get to the family, that would be very nice.
Oh, please God. I know your family are in touch. Have you been seeing them?
They're so busy, but I hope I'll be able to go.
Oh, I hope so. Look, I wish you a Shana Tova, and I know you've been davening a lot and learning at home, and please God, you could daven properly at home for a good year, a better year for everybody. Wish you Shana Tova. Thank you for coming, and a happy new year. Mr. Tobin, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming out. So how's it going at the Square Minion? You must be working hard.
We have been working hard, and having got everything organised, we're now having to get everything reorganised because no one really knows what's happening and no one really knows who's going to come. So we're re-asking people to opt in.
Right. What will you be doing personally?
I think I'll probably be davening in the square. We're having a marquee with open sides.
Right. Okay.
I'll probably daven there, but
and how many can you fit in?
I think we worked out 50, but we're running. The plan was to have minyanim in the tent and in the shul concurrently. We were going to have 4 sessions in each location. I suspect we won't need it now because I think a lot of people won't come.
Interesting. Oh well, I wish you good luck, and you know, you've put a lot of effort into it, and it's the effort that counts sometimes in
Other people have
Judaism,
put
you know.
more.
And I wish you and your family Shana Tova, Happy
And
New
to you,
Year.
and yours.
Well, Dr. Wengro, thank you for coming out today.
I'm so happy that I could come and get the shofar and get honey cake and sit in the sun a week before Rosh Hashanah.
Well, I would say so far, so good.
So good.
Good one. Yeah, we're good of you to come out, family well.
All well.
Good.
So
And I believe you have booked in for shul, and please God you'll get the service you want to. No one will be turned away from shul. You may not get the service you booked in, it's like Glastonbury, you know, you get one, you get the slot you're given, as it was. But we'll never say to anyone you're not welcome in shul, so we do look forward to seeing you.
Having a lovely time here.
Yeah, thank you for coming out to the fun bus.
Really, this is a real sense of community, getting everybody out into the street and we've heard the shofar several times, and we've got honey cake. I've been given honey cake for the whole family.
Do you make your own honey cake for
I
Yom Tov?
do make my own honey cake for Yom Tov.
I
I've got
expect
a
we'll
really
see that
nice
on Facebook.
recipe. I hope so. It's not ready yet. But obviously I don't eat honey cake till Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, you're not allowed to. It's like eating matzah
Yeah,
before
I think
Pesach,
so,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, what's your favourite Yom Tov
Maybe
food?
what's your favourite? Any Yom Tov, you mean?
Lots of balls that she makes.
Oh, you like them, yeah?
I didn't force that.
Yeah. And what do you like specifically for Rosh Hashanah? Do you have anything special Rosh Hashanah? Well, honey cake, obviously.
Because honey's too sweet, but then when you dip the apple in it and eat it.
Oh, you like that? Oh, lovely. Do you up to for Yom Tov?
Rosh Hashanah, I'm at home doing Rosh Hashanah-y things.
That's good.
As is to be expected. Yom Kippur is similar.
We're just not eating, that's what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, Yom Kippur-y things.
Yeah.
Sukkot, I don't quite know what I'm doing because I'm going off to university and that starts the first day Sukkot.
Oh, really?
So that's going to be...
There'll be a sukkah there. Where are you going to?
Cambridge.
There's a sukkah in Cambridge. Thank you, Eddie. Hi, Sara.
Hi!
How are you kids enjoying the honey cake?
What's another honey cake? 1 second. I've got another backup.
They're allowed. You busy for Yom Tov?
Pardon?
Busy for Yom Tov?
We are very busy for Yom Tov. We've got a lot of preparation to do. And Tobias and Ariana and Mason are very excited. And to hear the shofar.
Oh, good. So have you got the timings of when it is? I'll let you know.
You'll let us know. Yeah, and
Yeah. So
Tobias,
what are you cooking?
that's a very good question. I was
I
relying
want to
on
know.
my in-laws and family and friends.
Everything's
So
changed.
now everything's changed. But we are going to cook up a feast. Okay, and Tobias is going to help me and Ariana. Are you? I can't believe how many honey cakes we're going
What
to
do you like eating on Rosh Hashanah? What's your favourite? Honey. What do you dip in the honey?
Apple.
Yes, you love it.
Mum!
Oh, very good. I wish you all Shana Tova. Thank you for coming out. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming out, Hilary. First of all, thank you for the Norris Leader. What a fantastic publication. Well done. And you brought the community together. The feedback has been amazing. And Kol hakavod, I know you do it all voluntarily. Thank you so much for doing it. And thank you for coming out today. How have you found it?
It's been wonderful. It's been so lovely to see everybody. It's so awful being separated from. I miss everybody so much. And as regards the Norris Leader, it's honestly my pleasure. What would I do for aggravation without it? And
What, you get aggravation from our shul? Oh, but it's worth it because it's a top-notch publication. We'll wait for it. It's Yom Tov, you know? It's wonderful.
it keeps me. I enjoy doing it.
Well, on behalf of literally the entire community, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Shana Tova.
And Shana Tova to you and to everybody.
Amen.
Hi, Dr. Eddie. Thank you for coming out. Everything okay?
It's like a festival atmosphere here. I love it. It's so exciting. It's really nice.
Oh, thank you for
Everybody
coming.
feel happy.
Lovely. Lovely. Thank you for coming.
Shana Tova, thank you for having us.
Lovely seeing
Great
you.
experience.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, it looked like they really appreciated it. So
Yeah.
all those hours on the bus.
I know, I loved it.
Yeah, we had great weather, thank God.
I thought it was fun because a few people asked me to blow the shofar, so I made the noise in the street, but that brought more families out, so it was nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like the lady came out and she's like, I heard the shofar blowing, what's going on? And she's like, oh, thank you so much.
And then she called her neighbours. It was a nice situation going on there. But obviously we didn't do today's because of the new government guidelines of more than 6. We didn't, want to bring too many people out, so we finished yesterday on Sunday, and now we're keeping to the rules.
Absolutely. We're doing what we can.
Yeah.
And now we're very excited to introduce the new youth directors.
Gila and Sammy, it must be a difficult time for them to start, if you think about it, because not many youth in shul at the moment, and to get to know and build new relationship with kids, it can't be easy, but they've got a good idea. Watch this.
Gila and Sammy, our new youth directors. Welcome, where a very excited HGSS awaits you.
So we have the new youth directors here, Gila Davis and Sammy Liebert.
Yeah.
Very.
We can't wait. It's going to be good fun. It's going to be a big chill.
So how are you guys?
All good, thank you. Very
Very
excited for the new
excited.
job.
Yeah, you pumped?
Very pumped.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's what you want to see in a youth director. Fantastic. Well, we're very excited to have you. And when are you getting, before we get into the meat and potatoes, I want to know a bit about yourselves. When are you getting married?
November 1st, we will be getting married.
November. Oh, Mazel Tov. Sha'at Tovah.
Right. So tell us a little about yourselves. So we know you're engaged. Mazel Tov. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. I grew up in Northwest London. I went to JFS and then I went to Israel for a year to provinces. And I've just graduated from Birmingham doing geography. And I'm starting as co-youth director. So we're very excited.
Yeah, and I grew up also in Northwest London in Golders Green. Went to Hasmo, Yeshiva and KBY for 2 years and just finished my law degree at UCL. I'm now doing the LPC law school on the road to qualifying as a solicitor. So that's where I'm at now.
How'd you guys meet?
How did we meet? Friends set us up.
You chased me for ages and ages and ages.
That's what we want to hear. The truth.
The truth.
The truth out to the life to the nation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we were set up through friends.
Oh, well, we're very excited for it's kind of a new beginning here, a new start, a very strange one. Things are not the same. It'll be a long time till things will be the same. I don't know if we want them to be the same, new stuff. So have you got like stuff in mind that you want to bring to HGSS?
Yes, we've got experience as working with youth movements, and so all of that we want to bring with. And I think both of us, what we have is we're like
fresh energy.
Yeah, freshness, and also an exposure to the outside world and exposure to the Jewish world. And so what every Jew now is doing in London, definitely in Norris Lee, is straddling those two worlds. So hopefully we can be people who understand the outside world, also can bring some Jewishness to it.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. It's what we need. On a personal note, I'm really excited to be working with you. Very excited.
We all are. It's such crazy times now, such difficult times, and especially for the youth. They've been through so much. It was really hard, especially with their GCSEs and the A levels, what they've gone through, and canceled classes, and even trying to get them engaged. On Zoom. How do you see engaging youth in this COVID time?
We've spoken a lot about this, obviously, from the beginning of when we applied and when we got it. It's been a huge topic of how are we going to cope without being able to have the big chill and the big scene, but really a massive advantage and something like a silver lining that we're really taking, and hopefully that's what we're going to be able to bring. Is if you have smaller groups, if you have 6 children and you hang out with them, you really get to know them on an individual level, what they need, what they want, a real personal cashier relationship with them. So we'll really be able to bring a strength of solidarity between each child and ourselves.
using smaller groups.
Using smaller groups.
Yeah. Great. That sounds great.
It is very, that's excellent. I mean, it's interesting how you're focusing on, you know, sometimes we look at it as a disadvantage that now we have to be in a small group, because you're right, you know, the youth, you know, they're social. Being social is all really what brings them together, but focusing on the smaller group might be an advantage.
You'll have to do a lot of time. We've got a lot of kids here. So with a minimum of 6, actually let it be 4 kids at a time, because you're 2. You'll see how the laws change, etc.
Yeah, we've got.
You're right. It's a great way of getting to know them in smaller groups, 100%, and that's a great opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you have a stronger relationship with them, then please God, when lockdown lifts, then they're all going to want to come, and the big scene will be back. But until then, meeting on a smaller scale is very nice.
Yeah. Also,
but in the shul itself, I mean, you could still gather as a group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think 30. So.
I think we're also very excited. We're going to be part of the shul for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, so that gives us a real opportunity to meet people, to introduce ourselves, to hopefully we're quite open people. We're excited. I'm very excited to meet new people. I've never done it in Norris Lee before. It's a new community for me, and I'm very excited to meet the people, to see what they're like, to get to know them, and so I'm very excited for.
You'll be made very welcome
in many ways.
Very, very welcome community.
Speaking from experience here.
Absolutely. So I think there's going to be 2, right? There are going to be 2 youth groups, 2 youth minyanim going on over Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So
Yeah. There'll be a full service and then a Musaf shofar service, I think.
Yeah, I think there's an overflow service.
Yeah.
Right.
We're doing the overflow, but we'll also speak in the main service. So I'll try and have a chance to meet everyone.
And be around after to chill, meet everyone.
Right. I mean, are there? Do you think as far as like after school or programs or social? I mean, is it? I guess it's so hard because we don't know the laws, right? I mean, currently you could only have 6, and what kind of?
I mean, we're waiting for an update from
programs.
The new thing as to what exactly we'll be able to do from these new guidelines, but. We'd like to do introductory events, maybe during Sukkot in Chol HaMoed, to get to know the kids better before we properly start in December.
Yeah. To do like a sukkah hop or something, maybe, if it's allowed.
Like a meal in a sukkah, somewhere nice in the shul.
I'm sure other shuls with their youth are also struggling with these challenges.
We've also spoken to lots of our friends who work at Kinloss and South Hampstead, to see how they've done it and what sorts of programs they've run. But I think that most of them, they've been there already. So for us, we're coming fresh in the middle of the balagan. So that's something unique for us that we've got to work out how to deal with it best.
But something else I was actually reading, just to add to a random thing, but to add on to what Gila was saying, is that I was reading the other day in the paper that they did a study and they found that levels of anxiety amongst teens have gone down during lockdown, which is really interesting, because you'd have thought being alone, away from your friends at home, would cause more problems. But in fact, they've found that levels have fallen. And I think maybe it's because being in huge social events is not always like the nicest thing for everyone. And so meeting people on a smaller level, in a calmer setting, where you really get to know someone, maybe will give us lots of, and might be better.
Good.
It's a good point. I mean, sometimes like in a smaller school setting, right, it's better for the child than the large numbers. They get overwhelmed, swallowed up.
Yeah, that's why I went to a small yeshiva instead of the big ones, get more attention.
Right, look at that. Look how he turned out.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Rabbi of Hampstead Garden Summer Synagogue. So, it's a great, it's definitely a great advantage of being in a smaller classroom.
It's about quality, not quantity, I always say.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Definitely.
You've got quality here, that's for sure.
We can't wait to join it. We hope we live up to the standards of everyone around us.
That's fantastic. And also you'll get a lot of support here. We've got a great team, office team, HOs. It's a good place.
How have you guys dealt with lockdown?
Yeah, where should we start? Well, this is for a start. We're doing this online.
Yeah.
Norris Lee TV.
It worked when I watched the one where you interviewed the runner. the marathon runner.
Yeah, Beatty Deitch. Yeah.
She was unbelievable. It was really good.
So we are very excited for you to join the team, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the flesh on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and on the holidays. And
I wish you Shana Tova. I look forward to seeing you.
All right, so everybody out there,
on site, not long now.
They should come out and know who you are now.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Shana Tova.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
A really lovely couple.
Great, yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with them. We'll let them get married first before we.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
But you know, like you said, it's they're doing what they can in these trying times with the limits amount of gatherings. And
I like the attitude that yes, it's challenging, but from that we can do something positive from it, and that we all need a bit of that, bit of positivity.
So thank you, Sara Franks, the chair of the youth.
Yeah, she's been working really hard.
Yeah, that's right.
And it is a hard job. So thank you, Sara.
To engage the youth during this time. So so come out, anybody. You know, we hope to see you on Yantiv, and please introduce yourself to Gila and Sammy.
Yes, and
now we are very excited to hear a
Chazan Avromi.
Yeah, to get you in the mood, to prepare you for Rosh Hashanah. He's given us a beautiful piece.
Rabbanit and myself, we thank you for watching, and we wish you all a Shana Tova, a good, happy and healthy, prosperous New Year to us, to your families, to community, and to Gantz Klal Yisrael, everybody.
Hi everyone, wishing you all Shana Tova. Here is a sneak preview of what's to come, a little taste of Rosh Hashanah. Here's Dobby on the piano. Aresh Sefasenu, sing along. Aresh Sefasenu, Aresh Sefasenu, Yerab lefonecha kein Ram benisa, Meivinu mazin, Meivinu mazin, Mabitu makshiv, Mabitu makshiv, Meivinu mazin, Mabitu makshiv, Kol Tekiya seinu, Use Kamil berachamim, berachamim uveratzon, Use Kamil berachamim, berachamim uveratzon, Seder, 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 Shoy Veroi Seidu. Shana Tova, see you all later, see you soon, Shana Tova.